Section 1 of Incidents of Travel in Central America, Chiapas and Yucatán, Volume 2, by John Lloyd Stephens. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sue Anderson. Incidents of Travel in Central America, Chiapas and Yucatán, Volume 2, by John Lloyd Stephens. Section 1. Chapter 1. Visit to the Volcano of Masaya, Village of Masaya, Lake of Masaya, Nindiri, Ascent of the Volcano, Account of it, the Crater, Descent into it, Volcano of Nindiri, Ignorance of the People concerning Objects of Interest, Return to Masaya, Another Countryman, Managua, Lake of Managua, Fishing, Beautiful Scenery, Mateares, Cuesta del Reloj, Nagarotis, Crosses, A Gamekeeper, Pueblo Nuevo. March 1st. Anxious as I was to hurry on, I resolved nevertheless to give one day to the volcano of Masaya. For this purpose I sent a courier ahead to procure me a guide up the volcano, and did not get off till 11 o'clock. At a short distance from the city we met a little negro on horseback, dressed in the black suit that nature made him, with 2 large plantain leaves sewed together for a hat, and plantain leaves for a saddle. At the distance of 2 leagues we came in sight of the volcano, and at 4 o'clock, after a hot ride, entered the town, one of the oldest and largest in Nicaragua, and though completely inland, containing with its suburbs a population of 20,000. We rode to the house of Don Sabino Satrun, who lay, with his mouth open, snoring in a hammock, but his wife, a pretty young half-blood, received me cordially, and, with a proper regard for the infirmities of an old husband, and for me, did not wake him up. All at once he shut his mouth and opened his eyes, and gave me a cordial welcome. Don Sabino was a Colombian who had been banished for 10 years, as he said, for services rendered his country, and, having found his way to Masaya, had married the pretty young half-breed, and set up as a doctor. Inside the door, behind a little stock of sugar, rice, sausages, and chocolate, was a formidable array of jars and bottles, exhibiting as many colors and as puzzling labels as an apothecary's shop at home. I had time to take a short walk around the town, and turning down the road at the distance of half a mile, came to the brink of a precipice more than 100 feet high, at the foot of which, and a short distance beyond, was the Lake of Masaya. The descent was almost perpendicular, in one place by a rough ladder, and then by steps cut in the rock. I was obliged to stop while 15 or 20 women, most of them young girls, passed. Their water jars were made of the shell of a large gourd, round, with fanciful figures scratched on them, and painted or glazed, supported on the back by a strap across the forehead, and secured by fine network. Below they were chattering gaily, but by the time they reached the place where I stood they were silent, their movements very slow, their breathing hard, and faces covered with profuse perspiration. This was a great part of the daily labor of the women of the place, and in this way they procured enough for domestic use. But every horse, mule, or cow was obliged to go by a circuitous route of more than a league for water. Why a large town has grown up and been continued so far from this element of life, I do not know. The Spaniards found it a large Indian village, and as they immediately made the owners of the soil their drawers of water, they did not feel the burden, nor do their descendants now. In the meantime my guide arrived, who, to my great satisfaction, was no less a personage than the alcalde
Sample complete. Ready to continue?